Hello, good evening and welcome to ITV News Anglia.
On tonight's programme, as the infected blood inquiry comes to an end after nearly 5 years, victims and their families say they're still waiting for justice.
Relieved that we've finally got here, but also a bit like, what if it's not enough? What if everything we wanted isn't going to happen?
Hello from David and from me. Welcome to the programme.
First tonight, families from our region who've been affected by the contaminated blood scandal say they want a meaningful apology from the government now that the independent public inquiry has concluded.
Thousands of NHS patients were given infected blood during the 70s and 80s, which led to deaths and life-changing illnesses for many. Today marked the last day of the inquiry, which began almost 5 years ago. Russell Hookey has more.
Well, this has been an incredibly long journey for victims and their families. This inquiry began back in 2018 and has heard from 370 witnesses and looked at thousands of written documents which date back over the last 4 decades. Now, how did this scandal all come to be? Well, back in the late 1970s, Britain wasn't self-sufficient for blood products, including the clotting agent factor VIII, and so turned to the United States to source some of these. Unfortunately, some of the blood products supplied were contaminated with viruses like hepatitis and HIV, and it was patients including haemophiliacs, those who'd undergone surgery, including women who'd gone through labour and needed blood transfusions, who were then infected by that blood. Now, sadly, many of the victims have since passed away. Those that are still around are living with the consequences of those conditions. Among the victims, Tolley from Sparham in Norfolk. Now, she received 2 blood transfusions between 1987 and 1991. That led to her contracting hepatitis C, although she didn't realise she'd done so until 2015.
The impact on my life has been devastating. I've been left with no end of medical problems. The impact on... At the beginning, when I was first diagnosed, I could see coffins with my name on it. I thought I was going to die because I didn't have the understanding of what hepatitis C was.
Also at the inquiry was Rennie. Now, she is studying in Colchester in Essex. She says her whole family has been affected by her mother's illness.
It's a bit of a mixed reaction. We were saying this morning, like the last day, it's been years, so long of our lives spent coming up to London and seeing all the evidence. I think relieved that we've finally got here, but also a bit like, what if it's not enough? What if everything we wanted isn't going to happen?
Some of the victims of this scandal, of course, received an interim payment from the government as a result of recommendations from the chairman of the inquiry. The future financial support or compensation is yet to be determined. I'll come on to that in a moment. But throughout this inquiry, what victims have been saying is that far more important than the financial arrangements, of course, which are very important. Many of those who are living with conditions can't work anymore. It may be they are the sole provider in their household. But what they have been saying is that more important than those financial arrangements is an apology from the government, and also an assurance that nothing like this could ever happen again. Now, concluding the inquiry this afternoon, the chairman said that he would be making a further interim statement on compensation arrangements. He's already told the Paymaster General that he will be making that statement before Easter, although the remainder of his findings in the report will not be published until the autumn. Ultimately, of course, it's down to the government to decide what action will then be taken.
Russell Hookey reporting.